Oh, Canada! Our home and native land. If you're looking for a great place to travel, you won't find a better one than the Great White North. But don't just take my word for it, Take off your toque, grab a double-double from Timmy's, and let me tell you all about Canada, But before we travel to every province in Canada, let's get to know the country as a whole. The weather. First off, let's talk about the weather. You know that old saying, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes? Well, in Canada, we take that to a whole new level. 1 minute it's sunny and warm, and the next minute it's snowing and freezing cold. So, make sure to pack your parka and your shorts because you never know what you're gonna get. The wildlife. Now, let's talk about wildlife. We've got moose, we've got bears, we've got beavers, and we've got, wait for it, Canadian geese. Oh, those Canadian geese. They're like the mafia of the bird world. They'll hiss at you, chase you, and steal your lunch out of your hand. But don't worry, they're just trying to be friendly. The friendly Canadians. And speaking of friendliness, Canadians are the nicest people you'll ever meet. We apologize for everything, even if it's not our fault. Sorry, that you spilled your coffee. Can I buy you a new one? We'll hold doors open for you, we'll help you carry your bags, and we'll even give you directions, even if we have no idea where we're going ourselves. The food. But let's not forget about the food, Canada is home to some of the tastiest dishes in the world. We've got poutine, which is basically French fries, gravy, and cheese curds all mixed together. We've got maple syrup, which we put on everything from pancakes to bacon to ice cream. And we've got ketchup chips, which are exactly what they sound like, chips that taste like ketchup. Don't knock it till you try it, The scenery. And finally, let's talk about the scenery. Canada has some of the most beautiful landscapes in the world. We've got the Rocky Mountains, the Great Lakes, and Niagara Falls. And if you're lucky, you might even see the Northern Lights, like a big, beautiful light show in the sky. Just make sure to bring your camera, The politicians. Let me tell you, if Canadian politicians are a real hoot, We've got some characters up here, from Justin Trudeau's luscious looks to Doug Ford's love of cheap beer. There's Jagmeet Singh, with his hipster beard and stylish turban, and Elizabeth May, who loves to hug trees. And then there are the wild and crazy ones, like Maxime Bernier and Pierre Poilievre, who always keep our blood pressures high and wrinkles out in the open. But no matter what, we Canadians love to make fun of our politicians, It's all in good fun, though after all, we're just being polite, The Canadian Hollywood A-listers. Oh boy, we've got some real maple syrup sweet Hollywood stars and singers up here in Canada, You might know the two Ryans, Ryan Reynolds and Ryan Gosling. They're the handsome devils whose six-pack abs delightfully made us thirsty in movie theaters. And don't forget about the lovely Rachel McAdams, who's been stealing hearts since Mean Girls. But it's not just Hollywood where we're making waves, we've got some pretty amazing Canadian musicians too, There's the iconic Celine Dion, who's been belting out power ballads since the dawn of time, and the inimitable Drake, who's always making headlines with his latest chart-topping hits. Oh, and don't forget about Michael Bublé, the crooning king of Canadian Christmas. That guy could sing the phone book and make it sound like a love song, Let's not forget about Justin Bieber, the one-time mop-top cutie who's now all grown up and causing a stir with his tattoos and bad boy antics. But no matter who your favorite Canadian star may be, one thing is for sure, we're all pretty darn proud of them up here, Whether they're rocking the red carpet in Hollywood or serenading us from the radio, these Canucks sure know how to make us smile. After all, that's just how we roll up here in the Great White North, Now, let's start this ultimate Canadian trip from the east to the west. Buckle up and hold on to your beavers because we're about to travel across Canada. From the mountains of BC to the lobster rolls of PEI, we've got a brief guide to every province that will have you laughing, learning, and itching to hit the road. So grab a poutine and settle in, because this is gonna be a wild ride, eh? Ontario. This is the province where the weather is more unpredictable than a hockey game with a moose as the referee. 1 minute you're sweating buckets in a heat wave, the next you're shoveling snow in a blizzard. But hey, that's just part of the charm, eh? And if you're looking for things to do in Ontario, there's no shortage of options. You can take a stroll around Toronto's iconic CN Tower, or head out to Ottawa to visit the Parliament buildings and see where all the politicians are holed up. And of course, you can't forget about the beauty of Niagara Falls, just make sure you bring a poncho, eh? But let's be real, the best part about Ontario is the people. We're friendly, we're funny, and we're always up for a good time. Whether you're hitting up a cottage party on a summer weekend or grabbing some poutine after a night at the bar, you can always count on us to bring the good vibes and a healthy dose of Canadian charm. British Columbia. British Columbia, where the mountains are as high as a moose's antlers. If you're a fan of outdoor activities, then this is the place for you. Go skiing in Whistler, hike in the Rocky Mountains, or surf in Tofino. And if you're feeling a little lazy, take a stroll around Stanley Park in Vancouver and admire the beautiful scenery. Just be careful not to get lost in the wilderness, eh? Who knows, you might end up being best friends with a grizzly bear. Quebec. Bonjour, Quebec. If you're looking for a little bit of European charm, then this is the province for you. Quebec City is like a little piece of France in Canada with its cobbled streets and old-world architecture. And don't forget about the food, eh? Poutine is practically a religion here, and maple syrup flows like water. And if you're feeling brave, try speaking French with the locals. Just be prepared to have many confused looks thrown your way, eh? Alberta. Yeehaw! Welcome to Alberta, where the cowboys are as tough as a moose's hide. If you're a fan of rodeos, then this is the place to be. Check out the Calgary Stampede or head down to the ranch for some horseback riding. And if you're feeling hungry, try some of the famous Alberta beef. Just don't forget to wash it down with a cold beer, eh? And if you're lucky, you might even see a real-life cowboy riding into the sunset. Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan, where the skies are as big as a prairie dog's burrow. If you're looking for a place to get away from it all, then this is the province for you. Take a stroll through Grasslands National Park or go fishing in one of the many lakes. And if you're feeling a little lonely, strike up a conversation with a friendly local. Just be prepared for a long chat, eh? Saskatchewanians are known for their friendliness and their love of a good story. Nova Scotia. Ahoy there, matey! Welcome to Nova Scotia, where the seafood is as fresh as a fish straight out of the ocean. If you're looking for a place with lots of history, then Halifax is the place to be. Check out the Halifax Citadel or take a stroll along the waterfront. And don't forget about the lobster, eh? You can't visit Nova Scotia without trying some famous maritime lobster. Just be careful not to get pinched by one of those feisty crustaceans. New Brunswick. Howdy, partner! Welcome to New Brunswick, where the forests are as dense as a beaver's lodge. If you're a fan of the great outdoors, then this is the province for you. Go hiking in Fundy National Park or take a canoe trip down the St. John River. And if you're feeling hungry, try some of the famous Acadian cuisines, eh? From seafood to poutine rapide, you will indeed find something that will tickle your taste buds. Manitoba. Welcome to Manitoba, where the prairies are as flat as a pancake. If you're looking for a place to unwind, then this is the province for you. Take a stroll through Assiniboine Park or go for a dip in Lake Winnipeg. And don't forget about the mosquitoes, eh? They might be as big as a moose, but they're harmless unless you forget your bug spray. And if you're feeling lucky, try your hand at some of the local casino games. Who knows, you might just hit the jackpot. Prince Edward Island. Howdy, folks! Welcome to Prince Edward Island, where the potatoes are as tasty as a lobster dinner. If you're a fan of Anne of Green Gables, then this is the place to be. Visit the Anne of Green Gables house or stroll along the red sand beaches. And if you're feeling a little peckish, try some of the famous PEI mussels. The Great White North won't be complete without Canadian territories. Strap on your toque and grab a cup of Tim's, because we're heading up to Yukon, Nunavut, and Northwest Territories, where the winters are cold, and the people are even colder. Yukon. Yukon is home of the legendary Klondike Gold Rush and more moose than you can shake a hockey stick at. You can hit the trails for some dog sledding or snowmobiling, or cozy up in a cabin with some hot cocoa and a good book. And if you're lucky, you might even catch a glimpse of the elusive northern lights, but don't hold your breath, eh? Nunavut. This is where the land is barren and the snow is deep. But don't let that fool you, eh? The Inuit people who call this place home are some of the most hospitable folks you'll ever meet. You can learn about their culture and traditions, or try your hand at ice fishing for some delicious Arctic char. And if you're feeling really adventurous, you can even take a dip in the frigid waters of the Arctic Ocean. Just don't forget your parka, eh? Northwest Territories. The place where the days are short and the nights are long. You can hit the slopes for some skiing or snowboarding, or go on a wildlife safari to see some majestic caribou and bison. And if you're feeling brave, you can even try some ice road driving. Just make sure you've got some good winter tires and a sense of humor, eh? So, there you have it, folks. Canada is the perfect destination for your next vacation. Come for the weather, stay for the wildlife, the food, the scenery, and the friendly people, eh? And don't forget to pack your sense of humor, because we like to have a good laugh, too. Cheers!